Thanks for checking out this ranking and review video. So here we go. I'm going to go over all the July Vinegar Syndrome releases that I ended up picking up. This wasn't every single one that was available. I covered that in my haul video for these. But yes, here I'll be going over doing a quick-ish review of each of the movies and their special features and essays if they had any, and ranking them. So the one I'm going with first is the one that I liked the least or thought was the least good out of the whole group, and the last one being the best. Now, I'm going to say right now, when people are getting this, the public gets this a week after I actually make it available to all my members of the channel. So if you have an interest in that, you can pitch me a few dollars a month down, link in the description. And the people at the top tier, which is only, I believe, $4.99 a month, you get exclusive videos no one else sees. But yeah, if you want to support me in some free ways, though, thumbs up on the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell button, all that jazz. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, by the way, notice this is my Giallo shirt. There's a reason for that. And it says Argento right here. There's a reason for that. Just the Card Player was one of the movies. It wasn't my number one. But anyway, let's get into it. So I got 6 releases. So number 6 is The Rage Carry 2. Now, I saw a lot of people who were not happy with this movie being put out by Vinegar Syndrome. I will be honest, I actually enjoyed the movie itself. I thought it's not a good movie, but it really hit that kind of 90s nostalgic, where it's kind of like films were stuck in between, coming off of the 80s where things were very wild and over the top, and then trying to be a little bit more serious. So it kind of feels like they're just kind of stuck in between, trying to be ridiculous, but also trying to be serious. And it kind of doesn't work, but it has its own feel to it. And I'm very nostalgic for that type of things. And it does kind of come across as a so bad it's good film in certain ways. So I enjoyed the film, and I'm going to keep this release, but I think it's a terrible release, honestly. This is the most piss poor Vinegar Syndrome release I've seen effort-wise, honestly, and I'll break down why. So first of all, I'm okay with this as a design. Like, I like this portion of it. Having it The Rage Carry 2 like this, I don't think you need it, but I'm fine with that. The front's fine. This, I have no idea what this is. This is horrendous. There should be another piece of artwork on this because people are paying specifically for the slipcover. So there should be another piece of artwork on here, not the synopsis of the film. That's horrible. Very lazy. Then the other thing is, there is one special feature on this. There's a commentary track. I don't watch the commentary, so commentary might be good, but other than that, there's one special feature on this, which is they couldn't have gotten someone to just do like a video essay about the film. They couldn't have paid people. Sorry, my cat's making noise. They couldn't have paid people to write physical essays about this film. They definitely could have, and they chose not to. So this was a minimal effort, let's just throw it out there type thing. Now, if you're a fan of this film, it looks really good. It's in 4K, and they cleaned it up really well. So it might be worth picking up for you. For me, I was very let down by the fact that they had barely anything going on with this. And then on top of all of that, when I went to put the Blu-ray in, because that's where all the special features are, it didn't play. And I tried numerous players, and then I tried other discs on those players. It did not play. So the good thing is, Vinegar Syndrome's customer service is phenomenal. So I emailed them the next day, because I emailed them like at night, or no, it was on a weekend, like a weekend afternoon, Sunday. The next day, that morning, they got back to me immediately, said, we put a replacement in the mail for you. I got it like 2 days after that. So phenomenal service there. So if you do have a problem like that, their customer service is impeccable. So good on them for that. But this is a bad release, in my opinion. But the movie's a decent time. Anyway, The Rage Carry 2 was my last one. Okay, so my number 5, also one I did not enjoy very much, is 5 Dead on the Crimson Canvas. Although I do like the name of it, and I do like that it is a Giallo-inspired film. I would just call it Giallo-esque personally. Although there is a special feature on here which is like, is this film Giallo? And the person doing it says this film is Giallo. From what I've learned, it is not Giallo. It is a Giallo-inspired film. It is like an homage to Giallo, basically. That said, it feels lovingly like an homage, and I think that there's some fun to be had with that aspect of it. But this is their DeGoss release. It is very shot on video, so it doesn't look great. And it actually just reminded me that I usually do like a quick synopsis about what the movie's about. But the Rage Carrie 2, everyone knows that's just, it's a sequel to Carrie and someone being picked on at school until they kill people. That's easy. Five Dead on the Crimson Canvas, there's not a whole lot of story to this one. It's a giallo. It's a whodunit. People are getting killed. It's this guy who kind of like, he's an artist. He ends up going missing, which is where the whole canvas aspect comes up with him being an artist. And people start dying after he goes missing, and it's who's the killer. So I will say, for this being like super low budget shot on video, I do think that the practical effects were kind of impressive, in my opinion. So I like that aspect of it. It's very slow and boring, unfortunately, and the dialogue will just put you to sleep almost. So there's some good kills in it, and the reveal is kind of fun, but it doesn't look great, and it's boring and slow. So, kind of whatever you're feeling on that. I do like the artwork that they chose for this. They did do a good job. Also, that artwork is pretty nice, but the special features are pretty good. They did a nice job with that. They have a lot of people involved with the film talk about it in a very loving manner, and it made me like way more excited about the film than I should be. And this was after I watched it, and I was just like, oh yeah, it kind of like made me like it a little bit more, even though I don't love it, and I'm not going to keep this one. I'm a sucker for giallo, which is why I bought it in the first place. But great special features, very good interviews, very good insight into how they were able to pull this off when they had like pretty much no money. So if you are into this, if you like those kind of slower paced shot on video films, and it's a homage to giallo, you might like this, honestly, because like I said, special features are there for sure. So yeah, Five Dead on the Crimson Canvas, my number 5. Coming in number 4, that's where we're hitting this one, the Argento. That is The Card Player. I am down with the artwork on this. That's some nice artwork, front and back. See, that's what you should be doing. Not like the Rage Carrie 2. And so this one is just basically about it's another 4K. This one, and Blu-ray for 5 on Crimson Canvas. Yes, 5 Dead on the Crimson Canvas. Sorry, it's been one of those days. I'll get it together. So yeah, 4K, it looks phenomenal. This is from the 90s, so they probably didn't have to clean it up too much, but it does look great in 4K. This is an Argento, like late Argento, where it definitely seems like he's forgetting how to direct and how to put a film together, unfortunately. And the story's not great. The script is like pretty weak. But the whole premise is some police officers who are being harassed by a killer who is telling them that he wants to play online poker with them, and if they win the poker hands, he will not kill these women that he's abducted. But, they end up losing at times, and then other times, even when they win, like some end up showing up dead. And so it's just about them trying to figure it out. It's a giallo. But it's, this is a giallo, just so people know. 5 Dead on the Crimson Canvas, no. The Card Player, yes, it is a giallo. But it's a very annoying film in the first half. I will say that towards, like, maybe the last half, definitely the last quarter of the film, I started to have some real fun with it, because that's when, the story really picks up, there's more intensity to it, the pacing picks up, and there's one kill in particular that's a lot of fun. So it just starts to get a lot more interesting, and it almost saved the film for me, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to keep this one. I'm still undecided on whether I'm going to keep it or not, because that beginning portion of the film, like at least the first half, is really slow and boring and very annoying. And I say it's annoying because not the performances. Performances were good. It's very like basic directing, like cinematography, which you would expect more from Argento, but the amount of online poker playing is maddening. They let those scenes go on way too long. It is so effing boring. I'm not a fan of that at all. Also, the score is horrendous. It is I'm not even kidding. It's the worst score I've heard in a movie before, and which is weird because Claudio Simonetti did it from Goblin, and there is a glad they did this. There is an interview with him in the special features, and him talking about his inspiration, but also the lead actress was involved in talking to Claudio Simonetti and saying to him, "Hey, you know what's really hot right now? German electronic music." And then like had him listen to some, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, let's do that for the score for this movie." Claudio Simonetti, great at music, not German style electronic, I'll tell you that much, because this is a horrible, very annoying score. But it's interesting to hear their perspective on it, and it was very interesting in the special features to hear the perspective of people who worked on the film and just kind of what they thought about it. And most of the people just said like, it's not a great Argento film, but it was awesome to work with him, and he was really nice, and he was really awesome, and this is what I'll take away from it. So the special features are there. So like as a release, if you're aware that this is not a great film and it's probably going to annoy you to some degree, it's a good release. And that's why I said like I'm on the fence about keeping this. I might keep it, I might not, because like I said, that last like probably quarter of it or so I did quite enjoy. But yeah, the card player, my number 4. So there are all the reasons. Okay, so coming into number 3, every year for the past 2 years, this is the third one going, they have been putting out a big like kaiju rubber monster film in July. And this year was no different, and they put out Yongari, Monster from the Deep. This is a South Korean version of like a Godzilla take, and it is the weakest in my opinion. So basically, I really enjoyed Gorgo that they put out in 2023, and I didn't like Reptilicus, which they put out last year, as much as Gorgo, but still liked it. This one, it's okay-ish. There is some charm to it at times, but it's definitely the weakest of them, and I'm just hoping that that trajectory isn't continuing, because I think they're probably going to do this next July as well, most likely. I love the packaging on this. This looks unbelievable, and it was the same with Gorgo and Reptilicus. They did a phenomenal job with the art on it. I don't really understand this on the slip. Like, they did the same thing with Gorgo and Reptilicus. It's kind of weird, but anyway, it's good. Oh yeah, and the original artwork is like pretty decent. One of the sad things though is the actual like creature design of Yongari is horrible. Like it looks so like sad and like not scary at all or menacing, but it does mess up some buildings. And that is fun, seeing all like the miniature sets that they use, and then this dude in the rubber suit just going around stomping stuff. That's a lot of fun. So there is some fun to be had in this film. It is decent enough. The story is not that interesting, which, with these types of movies, the human aspect of it is typically not great. And that is the case here. Although some of the characters are kind of interesting because they're quirky. And there is some decent dialogue with that. And in the special features, I like the fact that they talk about where the ideas behind this film came from. And a lot of it has to do with like petroleum and, gasoline and stuff like that. And metal, eating metal is one of the things that makes Yongari stronger. So yeah, I'm not going to give a synopsis of this because they're all about the same, stock human characters and a creature waking up from the deep and destroying things. So, and he dances at one point, which I thought was one of the most off-putting scenes in the film for for like any sort of trying to care about this as like an overall monster film. But anyway, it's there's a little bit of charm to it. It honestly looks phenomenal. I was like floored by how good this looks. It is a 4K and it's from 1967, and the way it looks, I was like, oh my gosh, it literally breathtaking how good it looks. Some really good special features, like I said, all that context of like what was going on in Korea at the time and how that translates into the film. Super interesting stuff. So really good special features on this one. And yeah, so it was a pretty solid release. On the fence about keeping this one though. So Yongari, Monster from the Deep, my number 3. All right, home stretch. Number 2 is Mac and Me. This is their VSU release, which I had heard a lot of things about this. It's kind of a notorious film. My best friend, shout out Rich, is a fan of this film because he saw it when he was very young and he really liked it. And he also said that it was like the first film that made him realize that you could really like rip off other big films, because obviously it rips off E.T., Spielberg film. So, and you can easily see that. This was my first time ever seeing this film. So, I didn't really like the film. I actually really did not enjoy my experience watching the film. But when I got done with it, I found myself being like, yeah, but there's something about it. Like, there's just something about it. And then going through the special features and the essays in here, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to warm up on this thing. So I think I'm going to keep it. But the whole story behind it is, I mean, it's a ripoff of E.T. It's like this alien family on another planet gets sucked up by this landing equipment from, I guess it's supposed to be NASA, who like they suck them up and then they take them to Earth and then they end up escaping. And it's just kind of all about the government trying to get them back under control, even though they're not bad. Like, they're not trying to hurt anyone. But, there's a perception. They're aliens, they're dangerous. And the Matt, who ends up being called Mac, ends up befriending this kid who's in a wheelchair, who actually, the actor actually had spina bifida and was wheelchair bound. And that's one of the things that the director wanted to make sure of, I think writer-director wanted to make sure of, which is actually casting someone who had a disability and not just someone who would act like they had a disability. So very forward thinking there. And it's just about like zany hijinks. I will say this has pretty good pacing. And I did not expect that from a film like this. The design of the aliens is the biggest problem for me personally, other than this is story not being great, being very derivative. But the design of them, like, they look kind of creepy, but also just real derpy. And their eyes are always like super wide open, and they like look around like they're constantly like trying to figure out how they even move their own bodies. Like, it's like they're high the whole time and they're trying to like clear their eyes, and then their mouths are always like pursed like the whole time. Like, I am a very passive person, but I wanted to punch these things. Like, it just triggers that desire in me, and it's such a weird thing. I don't know, it's so weird. But there, this is like this has been referenced a bunch in pop culture over the decades. And yeah, I mean, it's good to finally see it. And like I said, really good special features on it, really good essays on it to kind of talk about the backstory of how it came to be and why it is such a ripoff and why it didn't do better than they thought it probably would do in the theaters. So yeah, really, really good, and a lot of interesting information about this individual. Oh, and also trying to dispel the idea that this movie was basically paid for by McDonald's, because it does kind of feel like a McDonald's commercial for a portion of this film. There's also Coca-Cola in there very prominently, and Skittles as well. So all that product placement is like very in your face and kind of like eye rolling at times. But they address some of that in the essays, and it kind of puts a different spin on it, which isn't very interesting. And that's what I love about when they do essays and when they do video essays, is that it'll make you think about different aspects of the film. And that's what makes a really good release, in my opinion. And this definitely has it. So Mac and Me is my number 2. So that leaves me with the number 1. And I wasn't necessarily expecting this one to be my number 1 going into it, but this is really a phenomenal release. And I'm going to say at this moment, the halfway point of the year, this is my number 2 Vinegar Syndrome release of the year. Obviously that could change with what they have coming out. Probably will. But that is the cinematograph release of A New Leaf. This is a great movie in the first place. Let me talk about the synopsis of this one. It is about a trust fund baby who's much further on in his age at this point. He's probably in like his late 40s, early 50s in this film. Maybe mid 40s, I don't know. But as I've gotten older, it's harder to judge. But anyway, it stars Walter Matthau and Elaine May. So this trust fund baby dude has just spent all of his life just spending money like it doesn't matter. He's never had a job before. He's never really had any skills. He hasn't needed to because he's just been living off his parents' money. Eventually, he finds out, oh no, the money is now gone. Now what do I do? So he devises a plan to meet a woman who is already rich, a widowed woman played by Elaine May, and off her. So he can just have the wealth after they're married and just live by himself and keep going on as he has been going with his life. So it's a very intriguing idea. It's done extremely well. The writing is phenomenal. The dialogue is so sharp and fun and funny. The performances of Mathau and May are so good, and their chemistry is wonderful. Apparently, according to some of the special features and the essays, they didn't really get along for a large majority of the film, but by the end of it, ended up really liking each other, which is perfect for what the film needed, to be honest. And then they liked each other ever since then. But yeah, this is a film that really comes together with a very strong script. It's shot really well. The acting is phenomenal. It is legitimately funny. It is legitimately fun. It has good emotion to it. I fell in love with this film. This is a perfect screwball comedy from the, what year is it? 70s. It's from 1971, early 70s. Highly recommend for people who like the older screwball comedies. This is phenomenal. Special features, knock it out of the park. Some really good special features talking to people about Elaine May and about the film in general and how it was made. And then there are 5 essays in this. 5 written essays in this. I think that is the most of any Vinegar Syndrome release that I have gotten personally. And I've been getting them for a while now, and a good amount of them. Yeah, there's so much in there. Some things end up getting repeated a bit here and there, but that's fine. You can kind of just skim like that portion when it starts talking about something that's already been talked about, like synopsizing. Is that even a word? I'm going to say it. Synopsizing the film like it happens in all the essays. So I just kind of like going past that. But yeah, there's so much good stuff in there that makes you think about it, especially going in depth on Elaine May, because there's not a ton known about her and her skills and how great she was with film and why she kind of seemed to be invisible within the industry, unfortunately. But so it does a really good service to her, honestly. This was not the cut of the film that she wanted. This was a Hollywood cut, a studio cut, but I will say it's phenomenal. Her cut apparently was like 3.5 hours or something like that. And it can't be restored because the extra pieces just aren't found. But phenomenal, unbelievable. If what I told you story wise piques your interest at all, you must pick this up. It is wonderful. I really think that in general the cinematograph line has been slept on a lot, and you really should not be doing that. I'm looking over at my shelf, and other ones that I'm going to call out real quick that are unbelievable releases by Cinematograph that I think everyone should pick up, in addition to A New Leaf, super strong, Dangerous Game, Female Perversions, Joyride, Last of the Red Hot Lovers, Little Darlings, Red Rock West, and my favorite of all of them, Thieves Like Us. I don't like all of their releases, and I'm not picking every single one up either. Like Bang the Drum Slowly, I have not picked up. I might later on, if it's, discounted at some point. But at the time, I didn't feel like getting depressed, and it looked pretty depressing. But this one, not depressing. Anyway, I'm going off on a diatribe, but A New Leaf, phenomenal. That's my number 1. So, Jesus, my apologies. I always feel dumb when I swallow my saliva the wrong way, Anyway, one of my coworkers just did it today. Anyway, thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. Please let me know if you've seen any of these films, what your thoughts were on them. What have you picked up recently? Give me a little review of a film you watched recently and try and, tell me whether I should or should not check that one out. Go ahead and put that down there. Like I said, if you want to get a membership, link in the description. Thumbs up. Subscribe, all that jazz. Really appreciate that. But Excuse me. I look forward to finding out what they're going to have for August. And then, as usual, I will be doing a haul video of what I get from Vinegar Syndrome for August. And then also that follow-up video of the ranking and reviewing like this one. So I have a great time doing this. Literally one of my favorite types of videos I do. So please help support it. Anyway, thanks and take it easy. And I almost forgot, keep it brutal.